chose Well Balanced as my builder on the recommendation of my next door neighbor, who had an incredible experience with Well Balanced. And as the next door neighbor who was watching their project, which was a home that they had taken down to the studs and rebuilt it so beautifully, I realized that the work site was incredibly well managed. I was really impressed with how neat everything was, how minimally disruptive the whole thing was to me as the next door neighbor, and I was really impressed with that. It made a hugely positive impression on me, and that was critical, I think, to part of my decision to go with George, and also Melanie just raved about him. So it's always good to have somebody who's been through the project before you to be able to give you that personal recommendation. Working with the designer and the design process in general was unbelievably seamless. I think it was beyond my expectations. It was the first home that I had built, and the level of support that I had through the process was amazing. George's designer at the time and I were very much on the same page with our vision and what we wanted to accomplish here, and she was phenomenally responsive to my wants and desires, and I think that the end product shows a beautiful collaboration between her and what the construction considerations were for the overall home, and I love it. In terms of budgeting for the home, I actually bid out the project to several builders. I think I got 5 different quotes. And I didn't go with the most expensive, I didn't go with the least expensive. I went with the one that I thought was fair, and George was very, very clear about what was included and what wasn't included. And I think as a homeowner, that is a critical piece of information. But the most important thing about George was the level of comfort with him, his integrity, his honesty. It just didn't make sense to go anywhere else. Did my Laneway home and home meet my expectations? The Laneway was actually completed first, and I was just awed by how charming it turned out and the way that Gabrielle was able to fit all the pieces into it. I often joke that it's going to be the home that I'm going to move into. I'm going to give my kids this one and let them split it into 2 or share it because it's so charming. And my home in general it's fantastic. It's exactly the space that I needed to accommodate family, do a lot of entertaining, and I wanted a space that was accommodating for family and felt more like a home and not an entertainment space. And again, George and Gabrielle were so respectful of my vision and helping me realize it. How has the after service been with Well Balanced? So I told you all about George's integrity and George's professionalism and the incredible experience that I've had with Well Balanced Design. I would say hands down, the thing that has sold me in the last 7 years to Well Balanced Design is the aftermarket care. I do not know any other person who has had that kind of experience with their builder. I pick up the phone, I call George. In the last 7 years, I've called him and I say, hey George, problem X, whatever. It could be small, it could be bigger. And I get a text or a call back from him pretty much immediately or within the day. And he is usually on my doorstep on the same day saying, okay, what's happening, what's going on? And he has never, ever failed me. It's incredible. And that, I think, is what sets him apart. Everybody can build a house, but once you take that key and you go through your door, knowing that there's somebody who's always going to be just a phone call away is what sets Well Balanced apart. I wish I had another project that I could use Well Balanced Design. I would happily use them for anything. I've been thinking to myself, do I want to redo something? Do I want to have a bigger project? Should I talk to George about it? Right now I'm just dealing with getting through the pandemic and trying to go beyond that, but hands down, if I had another project to do, I wouldn't hesitate to call Well Balanced Design and get George back on the project.